Peace. Let's see how you pause this. Okay, I'm gonna take a pause for the cause. I'll be back. Peace, peace. Assalamu alaikum. Power to the people. Um, I want to wait, give a few people a chance to enter into the room. Let me do this. All right, peace to the people. Press 7 if you can hear me. Um, I want to speak on us standing up as Black men to take control of our own destiny, to fight for the rights to educate our own children, to fight for the rights so we can be together more as a people. We don't we can fight for what we deserve out of America since we are taxpayer payers. We pay plenty taxes in America. They claim we're 13% of the population. I know that number is much higher, but even if it was just 13%, then that means 13% of the taxes America collects every year should come back to benefit us so that we can be in a better place to open schools or take control of the schools in our communities that we are the predominantly students in those schools. We should be predominantly the teachers, the principals, the counselors, the NTAs, the nurses, whatever it takes to run a school. We should be in control of them schools. We shouldn't have people, most teachers in public schools are elderly and white women. And schools are a failure for our children, but they work far as the system control because they work. They're designed to hold us back. And that's evident in the fact that our children are not really learning in these schools, or they learning but at the level they're teaching them, which is much lower than it should be. If we read at a fifth grade level, then they're educating us, miseducating us at a fifth grade level. So I want to know, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? The chat is open. And I'm hoping you can hear me. So I'm just going to go at it. When you're ready, you can type it in, or you can join the chat. Let me see if I got something I can do that will allow you to come into my studio. Participants. You can hit on the no prisoners and join us. Let me get myself. It's time, brothers. We have to stand up. We have to take the lead our families. Stop begging the system to do for us what we can and must do for ourselves. Politicians failed us. We need to start our own party. Freedom, Justice, and Equality Party. That way we can select as well as elect our own candidates. We shouldn't belong to Democrat or Republican or either the independent party, as they call it, which is not an independent party, dependent on the system. They run their party for the system, not for us. These politicians, they tell us the same things every election. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and they do nothing. They get in office, we don't see or hear from them again until it's time for the next election. And how long are we going to keep voting, as they say, for the lesser of the two evils? That don't make sense. If you give me two people and they both evil, then I don't want either one of them. And the nonsense that, well, you're going to get one of them, so you might as well put one of them in there. Well, if neither one is worthy, then we shouldn't put none of them in. And the nonsense that, well, if you don't, you're going to get one of them, and then it's your fault if he get in there and do what he going to do, whether you put him there or you didn't put him there. He going to do what he wanted to, and we don't have to depend on them. We can depend on ourselves. We have to do more for ourselves. We have to spend our dollars with people that look like us. When if you want to celebrate these phony holidays that they have, we should spend our money with ourselves. Vendors, if we have to spend our money with vendors. We spending our money in these big department stores, and they walk around and follow us like we're only there to steal. You're spending all your money. They knocking our women down on the floor, handcuffing them, pepper spraying them, doing all this nonsense for us to spend our money with them. It don't make sense. If we don't stand up and show respect for ourselves, then it's no wonder other people won't respect us. Don't let them run the nonsense that y'all don't care about what you do to each other. You only care if somebody else do it. It's nonsense. There's no race of people that fight against the injustice that go on in the communities than us. We got to stop going for all the nonsense that they run at us. They say the same things over and over again. People commit crime in the neighborhoods they live in. So the crime in our neighborhood, of course, is committed by black people. We the ones live there. Crimes in white neighborhoods are done by them. Crimes in the brown neighborhood is done by them. The red neighborhood, the yellow neighborhood is done by them. Asians commit crime on each other. Blacks commit crime on each other. Hispanics commit crime on each other. The only people that commit crime, excuse me, the only people that commit crime on all others are the Europeans. They commit crime on everybody. They took this land, as they like to say, from the Native Americans. They went to Africa, brought us here, and enslaved us. They dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know what I'm saying? You understand? They commit crime on all people, even on themselves. They don't stick together like we give them the credit for sticking together. Oh, they all stick together. No, they don't. If if you live in Philadelphia, we know Kensington. Them poor white people down there, they don't go down there and do nothing to help them. Or they give them needles. That's the way they help. They give them needles and say, we giving them clean needles so they don't share them. Like that stopped them from sharing them. If you sticking a needle in your vein, you could care less whether the needle is clean or dirty. You're killing yourself with the drug. So that nonsense don't work. That's just to keep from locking them up. They're giving them places to go to do the heroin. So I guess that's what they call sticking together, but they're not doing anything to get them out of that condition, to lift them up, to become abiding citizens. They're not doing that. They don't help them. Asians have Asian people that live here in America that's struggling, that's doing bad, that's living in tents. I don't see them going down there in North Philly to lift them up, to help them. It's nonsense. The issue with sticking together when it comes to white and black, when the issue become white and black, then white people stick together against us. We don't do that. So we have to start taking care of ourselves, and it's not racist for another race to take care of their own race. That's not racist. The racist part is what they do to the other races to keep us from making advancements. That's the racism. And racism in America is systemic. It's in the system. White supremacy is loud and clear here in America. It don't have to be on the individual level. It's the system. It was built off of that. This country was built off of racism. So it's systemic. So that's what we have to fight against. We just need to stand up and protect ourselves against all that come against us. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about. How we take control of ourselves, how we demand that. We all we have to do is look at our history since we've been here in America. The things that we did to gain access to the things that we can claim today. We made strides in America. We made gains in America since we've been here, since 1555 when they brought us here on that first ship named Jesus in Jamestown, Virginia. Lots of strides we made. We fought against this system. We fought for rights. They never gave us anything. Everything we got from America, we had to fight and die for. Everything. So they never gave us anything. All the gains that we made, none of it was because of America. All of it was in spite of America. We had to fight and die to go to the same toilets. We had to fight and die to drink out of the same water fountains. We had to fight and die to go to the same inferior schools. We had to fight and die for everything we got. And we got it because we won those fights. So none of it do they get credit for. And just like that, we got to fight for what we want now. We got to fight to free ourselves. Freedom is not theirs to give. That's why we think I hear people say, oh, no, we'll never be free. We'll never stop racism. We'll never do this. We'll never do it. Well, that's only if you look for somebody else to grant you those things. They can't. Freedom is not theirs to give. So let's talk about it. Back in the day, in the days when we used to have segregation to its fullest here in America, when blacks had, we talk going to the entertainment field, when we had the singing groups from back in the day, Temptations and the Delphonics and all, and we can go deeper into the ones who, like Marian Anderson, who couldn't sing in their halls and their theaters. So we had our own. We had our own theater. We had the uptowns and the downtowns and the around towns and every other kind of town. And our singers, they made albums and they couldn't even put their own face on their own albums to sell them. But we had our own places where we would go and pay to see them. And they was making it. They was surviving. They was making it. And we was being entertained. I remember going to the uptowns. We didn't tear them up. We used to go and enjoy these groups, and we was making it. So they realized that if we allow this to continue, Black people will realize they don't need us to survive. We can survive off of ourselves. That's the way it's designed to be. So they came in with the intentions on killing two birds with one stone. If we go in and open up our theaters for them, we can make more money off of them than they make off themselves. They took control of that. And they made more money off of the groups than the groups was making for themselves. That was the one stone. And two, they took them away from us. And we closed down our theaters. When we went to their schools, they closed down our schools. So we don't see how we could have survived without them. So they killed two birds with one stone, but we need to go back to that. See, the idea of fighting to go to the same schools, the idea of fighting to go to the same toilets, to drink out of the same water fountain, wasn't because we really wanted to go to the bathroom with them. It was just because the conditions of the ones that they had open for us was so horrible. Who wanted to be there? And they wasn't horrible because we tore them up. They tore them up. They made sure they gave us the worst places to go when we had to do it. It wasn't us tearing it up. It was them because we didn't deserve anything better. And theirs would be in such better conditions. It wasn't because they kept them so clean. No, they had people who go in and clean. It's like when they opened projects for us to live in. The projects, of course, they was looking good when they first opened them, but they took away the people who would keep them maintained, who would fix things when they get broken, who would paint things when graffiti or something was put on the wall. You know, it was by design that they realized putting us in projects would be a bad thing for us, doing it the way that it was designed to done. They did it in places like Harvard and Yale and Princeton, these colleges that we think are so elite. But it was those colleges where they did experiments with rats and build what we later became the projects. They would build little projects for rats. This was how they worked. This was real. And they would put these rats in what we called after we moved in apartments in the projects. They would put rats in each of those apartments, and they would put food and water in each of those apartments. And when they did that, those rats could live together without any real problems. There was plenty food, plenty water for them, so they would stay to their own and do what they do. What rats do, I guess. That's crazy, but it's real. But then they realized now if we take the water and the food out of some of those compartments, leave them in others, but take them out of some, that eventually, those rats would fight and kill to get food and water. That's what they did. That's what they did with us. Put us in projects, give you nothing, give out a little assistance to some, to others they don't, and we'll fight for survival. That's what it's all about. That's one of the ways if that we as a people could come together. If they took everything from us, then we would fight them to get something. So they ain't gonna do that. So they'll just take it from some of us and we fight each other. And then they make the laws so strict on if you hurt one of theirs, then you get punished to the fullest extent of the law. But if you hurt some of your own, you may not even get punished. I noticed that a lot of the ones who commit a lot of crime and they're in and out of jail, in and out, in and out, in and out. But the ones who really not committing that crime, they lock them up and give them crazy times. Never want to lock them up. The good ones get locked up the longest. The bad ones go in and out. That's by design. See, they need the bad to be out here doing the things that they do so they can try to justify that we need so much policing in our areas. And we buy into that. Oh no, we need them to protect us. Oh, don't defund the police because if we do that, there'd be so much chaos. Baloney. It's baloney. We just have to take control of our own destinies. We just have to not let other people define our self-worth. It's like when you have jewelry and you want to know the value of it, you take it to an appraiser, and the appraiser get it, and they look through their scope and oh yeah, let me look at that for you. That's just a nice piece of gem here. Yeah, this thing is worth $250,000. That's us. We worth $250,000. We worth that, but we being appraised by the other man. The other man tell us our self-worth. And they tell us, you're not worth nothing. You know what I mean? You're nobody. You're nothing. You're never going to be nothing. All y'all going to do is kill each other. They tell us that. So we have to change the appraiser. We have to stop letting them appraise us and appraise ourselves. Because if we did that, we would realize most of our children are not out here killing each other. Most of them, they're not. I know they like us to believe that, but it's not true. Most of them are not out here doing them crimes. And that's amazing since everything been so much against us since they brought us here that you would think most of us would be out here doing that, but we're not because it's not our nature to do this. It's other than our nature to do this. So we need to stop letting them. If you don't know how to read between the lines, we shouldn't even watch their media when it comes to them talking about us because all we get is the negative. They don't show no positive that black people do. We have great children, even in their schools, that's everything set up against us. Somehow children rise to the top still, most of them. But they wouldn't show that. They put them down. They try their best to keep them from rising, but you can't do that. A lie crushed to the earth will rise again. We just have to praise ourselves, do for self. We can do that. We got so much money that comes through our hands as a people, as a nation, within a nation. We one of the richest nations in the world with the money that come through our hands. I don't know the statistics on it now, but I know it used to be that every other race, the dollar turnover in that race 6 times, at least 6 times before they spend a dollar outside of the race. But with us, our dollar didn't turn over 1 time before we give it right back to the people. So them the things we have to stop. If we stop that, not if, when we stop that, I'm telling you, we can turn this thing around like that. It'll be like almost overnight. That's what it would seem like. I know everybody say, oh, it would take so long to do that, but we've been in America now for over 460 plus years. That's a long time. So anything that happened for us is not considered overnight. These things been worked on just by not enough of us. And those of us who don't do it, we don't look to our own media for the answers. Think about it. We got people out here that been on the right track and they work speaks for itself. I know they try hard to tell us we shouldn't deal with religions, don't believe in religions. That I don't agree with that. I think religion can be and is really good for us if we do it right. You don't have to dwell on the religion. We just have to look at how we can use it to benefit us. It's like anything. Like they say, if you eat something, you chew the meat and you spit out the bone. You don't have to eat everything. You don't have to agree with everything. For those who are in religions, who are in churches, mosques, and everything else, and these pastors and the ministers and the preachers, they all take a lot of money from us, the community. We need to stand up to them too and say, invest that money back into us, or we won't give them that money. I mean, we can do that. We have to stand up and not let no people take advantage of us. That even go for our own people. We can do that. We can make them do the right thing, but don't let them tell us that you don't need them. Religion ain't bad. in itself, some bad people running it. Any organizations that we belong to, we make them work for us. Those of us who think you made it in America, you got all that money that they pay you because they have to let some people make it through the cracks. They need somebody to go back and tell everybody, look, you could do it. I did it. I made it in America. No, you didn't make it in America. You was made in America. But we can look at the good that came out of some things. Back during the slavery times, we got to admit some of the churches was good for black people. Some of the churches helped move us to what we thought was freedom at those times, take us away from massa who was whipping the hell out of us with their whips, and let us into massa who whipped the hell out of us with the knowledge and everything. But at least you moved away from the whip as we knew it. So same go with these organizations that we belong to. We got to make them do the right thing. They're not going to do it on their own. We got to make them do it. We got examples to look at of things that work. The people can say what they want to say, but the Nation of Islam under the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, a lot of good that it done for us as a people. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had the best saying that still stands to this day, and we can apply that to anything and everything that we deal with. He said, you don't have to condemn a dirty glass. You just put a clean one beside it, and you let the people decide which one they want to drink from. So I say that any religion, any organization, any sorority, anything that's out there that run that think they can do more and did more for black people and doing more for black people, then put a glass up against what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did. We got leaders that did a lot of things for us back in the day and present. Um, Noble Drew Ali. I mean, we got so many blacks that did so much positive things, but we let them tell us our leaders was no good. And a lot of times we turn our back on them. But we got these things out here. We can make it work for ourselves. We need to take care of our own affairs. All of these entertainers, athletes, um, the doctors, the lawyers. We got people in every endeavor. I mean, we got them. We got educators that work it in schools that really not educating our own, that we need to come back and do for our own. We need to take the monies that we make and invest in ourselves. Nobody can stop us from doing that. And if we don't do it, then it's never going to get done. Nobody going to save us but us if we want to be saved. And I know I do. And I know we do. But it's not going to be everybody. So we need to stop looking for everybody. We have to learn how to see the unity in us. And the unity with us say you can belong to any religion, any organization. You can belong to anything you want to belong to. You can do that. And if you work and do everything we do for the good of us as a people, as a nation, then we in unity. That's unity. We don't all have to belong to the same religion. We don't all have to belong to any religion. You can be an atheist. You can believe in whatever you want to believe in because all of us believe in something. Everybody believes. Don't listen to people that say don't follow belief. Everybody believe in something. So whatever it is you believe in, whatever it is you want to follow, do it for the good of us as a people. And I'm telling you, we'll rise to the top because we always do. You can't hold us down. We know it. You just let us get a foot in the door. We kick that door in and we take over the whole house. but we won't invest in our own. Some of us rise to where we think we at the top, and you'll open a business and you hire everybody that don't look like us. That business not going to make it. I'm telling you, it's not going to make it because the other people really not trying to make it. You make it. They trying to take what you got. Invest in your own people. We need banks. We need schools. We need hospitals. We can get all them things that sound like it's something we can't do, but we can do it. We can demand things when we come to our tax dollars, and we could take the monies that we have every day and invest in our own people. Like they say, if 1,000,000 people put up $10, you do the math. We can do it. Those who so-called made it, look at the ones before y'all who thought they made it and look at where they at today. Where they at? Some of them in rehab places because they lost everything. They lost their mind. Some of them committed suicide on themselves. Some of them living in the street. They ain't got nothing to show for. But they had all those millions going through their fingers, and they let them take it all back from them. They can't take it back from you if you come back, invest in your own people. Nobody's saying come back in the communities and give us anything. We saying invest in your people. You be the entrepreneurs in your own race and see how big you can rise and how we'll all rise together. They can't stop that. This ain't back in the Wall Street days and Rosewood and when they destroyed what we had. They can't destroy it today. Trust me, they really can't. They ain't got that kind of power no more. They got a whole bunch of weapons of mass destruction. Of course, America do, but America is falling fast. And if we don't do for ourselves, we're gonna fall right along with it. So open our eyes and see. I know the brothers in the nation that be out on the corners that was selling their bean pies, selling the final call papers. A lot of us won't even buy the final call papers. A paper that talk about the positive things in black communities, the positive things in the black society, the positive things in a black nation. We don't want to buy that paper. We want to go buy a Daily News or Inquirer, all these people that don't do nothing but print negative stuff about us. We want to watch the lamestream media that they call mainstream media that only tell us the negative we do. 3 killings here last night, this many killings this night, this many killings that night. But it's a whole lot of positive things that go on in our communities too. But they don't say that. I know a young lady who was 17 years old with a pilot license. Her mother was a bowler. I bowl. Her mother bowled with her. She was so proud of her daughter. Her daughter, 17 years old, had a pilot license. Go on her way, going to college to do great things. I never saw that on the news. But if her daughter was 17 years old and out here doing all kind of crazy stuff, negative stuff, I bet you she'd have been all over the news then. They don't show that. Another young man that was just a teenager and already a doctor. Wasn't even in college yet. He was a doctor. I'm telling you, there's so much positive that go on in our race that get overlooked because we look for them to bring those things to us. Well, my podcast is going to be about bringing more of the positive to us, but I'm just getting started now, and I'm trying to gain supporters. But when we up and running, I'm telling you, there ain't gonna be no limit. Our limit is the sky, it's the heavens. We just have to do things for ourselves. Stop letting people make us think that all we do is tear up. We don't build up. America, when they came here, when they got up out of the caves of Europe, they didn't know how to build nothing. I know people say that and we really don't understand it, but we laid the foundation down for America. And I say we talk about our ancestors. When they went to Africa, they didn't see a bunch of ignorant inwards running around that couldn't speak like they said and ran around with the bones in their noses and just were just savages. That ain't what they saw. They saw people that build whole societies, that build the pyramids, that build the Sphinx. They don't know how we done it. They call it one of the great wonders of the world. They don't know how we done that. All they know is when they brought here, we laid the foundations down to build America to what it is today. And if we done that for America, imagine what we can do for ourselves. Telling you, you can take us out of, I'm gonna use this term, but because people know it, but I don't want to call it that because it wasn't called that at one time. But you could take us out of Africa, but you can't take Africa out of us. Africa wasn't always called Africa. And those in the conscious community that know these things, why y'all still calling it Africa? Why you still calling us Africans? I know they don't want us to be black. We don't want to call ourselves black. Yeah, well, black is the essence of life. That's what black is. If we call ourselves black, we know we are kin to black people all over this world, not just in what they call Africa. Them ain't the only black people in the world. Africa ain't our home. Africa is where our throne is. This world is our home. God created us. And I watched a podcast, and I'm gonna stay with it because it's dealing with black, and they saying that they was saying in this thing that God, man, and God is the same. God didn't create man, man created God. That's what they said. Because it's the power we give God in our thinking and all this. So we created God. That can't be true. Let's stop playing the game with those who say nonsense things like that. How can we create God when we weren't here until God created us? The brother that was speaking on the behalf of the God, he kept leaving out because they kept saying, well, how did God get here? And he just couldn't say to him, well, God created himself. That's what makes him God. That's what make him do what we can't do. We don't create each other. We give birth to each other, but we didn't create each other. The sperm that's in me, I didn't put it there. My father didn't put it there, nor did his father, nor did my father's father put it there. Who did that? Who put the sperm in me? We one thing we know for sure who didn't put it in there. We know it was none of us. Who put the egg and the ovary in the woman? Not her, not her mother, not her mother, not her mother's mother put it in her. God done that. Somebody with a higher power than us. So he created himself. And then he created us. And he made us in his image and after his likeness. So scripture do say, ye are all gods, children of the most high. We're not the supreme being. We didn't create the sun, the moon, the star. We didn't create the waters. We didn't create the mountains. We didn't create the trees, the forests. We didn't create none of that. God created that. The scientists amongst us should know that. They think they above God, but a science just study what God put here. So we need to realize that it is a God in the world, and We need to work within ourselves and let the God that's in us come out. See, God gonna make himself known in the world through us, through the people that's been reduced to nothing, through these black people that they told us is worthless. Many of us believe that, grow up, that many of us still act like that. Those who think they made it out here talk about the black community like we trash. I don't want to be around these Negroes, but they living around people who look at them the same way they look at their own people, but they act like they don't see that. But what they do know is they can't be themselves around those people they living around. They know it. They know they at the bottom of the totem pole. They laughing at things that ain't funny. They scratching where they don't itch. They bowing down. Yes, sir. No, sir. They can't do nothing on their own. They begging to keep them little crumbs that they got because they think they got some money. I know a guy got a podcast on here. His net worth say he worth $4.5 million, and his brother swear he God. He think he God. I'm rich. Everybody that work under me that follow my Patreon is doing great. They all together. I'm God. I've been married 18 years. This guy said. I know people been married 50, 60 years. 18 years is a baby compared to them. This man is just ignorant. He think he's God. One of the ladies asked him, "What you think you Jesus?" He said, "Right beneath him. I'm beneath him. He's a perfect guy. He believes he perfect, but he have nothing but disrespect for black women, his own women. But he think he can make it without them. He listened to the guy that used to say, the black man don't need the black woman, but the black woman need us. He said, the woman can't survive without us, but we can survive without the woman. That show you how ignorant he is. How can a man survive without a woman? Because you need a woman to keep your life going. Now, how are you going to survive when you old? Even if you ain't got to be old to die. If he just died, that's the end of him. If it's just him, this man called himself a God-fearing man. When God put us here to be fruitful and to multiply, to have a family, to raise a family. So how can he survive without making children? And then he listened to that man, Kevin Samuel, who I listened to. Some things he said I like, some things he said was nonsense, and that was one of them, that we can survive without them. That ain't true. And then he's a God-fearing man like this guy, and they want to say, take the reproduction out of the equation. Let's just don't talk about reproduction. Take that out of it. We can survive because we built everything, he says. We build our houses. We hunt for the food. We do this and do that. The women don't do that, so we can survive without y'all. So if we take that logic, then we can say maybe you can survive longer if she is not able to do them things, but you're still going to die out because you're not making no babies because you don't have a woman. How can you survive? How could he even be worth $4.5 million if his mother didn't bring him into the world? Since she ain't nothing, as he like to say, but he's not talking about his mother and his daughter, just everybody else's mother and daughter. But if they don't bring us into the world, how can we survive? How could he even be on there talking that nonsense that he talked? He wouldn't be. He couldn't be. So let's stop saying those nonsense things. Yeah, the man put the seed in the woman, and the woman had to nourish it and carry it for the 9 months that it take to bring that baby to earth, full birth. But then she had to be the first nourisher, the first teacher. Well, if we want to have a great nation, of black people, then we need a great black woman. So you can't have a great black woman if you're going to tear her down. And we know we've been torn down when we got here. So we can't blame it all on the woman, since we all know as men, it's the man's job to protect and provide for our women and children. So if she was beat down, how much protection and providing was we doing? So we can't blame everything on her. And then to the sisters that want to blame everything on the brothers, you can't. Because when we came here, it wasn't like we just jumped on them ships and came here. It was a fight. It was a fight. But now we're being blessed that we can stand up to this, to America. We as black people going to stand up to the most powerful nation in the world. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to be victorious in bringing about freedom, justice, and equality for all those who qualify to be here. The New World Order, as they like to speak of, the New World Order. And my thing said, if you having a New World Order, but the same people who destroyed that old world order, if they are running the New World Order, then it wouldn't be new. It would be the same old order. So if it's a new world order, then they're letting you know it's going to be a new people running it. And who's going to run it? And to me, to run the new world is going to take a people who suffered all of the bad of the old world, but at one time knew the good in the world. That was us when God first made us. When we built those pyramids and had a life that was flourishing the way it was intended to flourish. Now we the most qualified people to do it, because we had the bad and the good. So that's why he gonna take what's last and make it first. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. We was leading it in the beginning, we gonna lead it in the end. Only we're gonna be better for it because we suffered all of that bad that came with it. So nobody know better than us what need to be changed. So all people gonna have to look within the people in their confines to get their life together. We can't save nobody but ourselves. Everybody got to save themselves. And once they do, then we can bridge the gap and bring us all together where we can live in a new world order. That's why we're a nation within a nation. And for those who talk about the FBA, Foundational Black American, as what's his name that founded that concept, Tariq Nasheed. And I hear people questioning about the tether that he talk about, and he not trying to bring all black people together, but all of us don't want to be saved. All of us can't be saved. But I think what he's saying is those of us who was brought here that spent the 460 plus years getting the worst treatment, that's fighting for reparations now and saying other people can't get that, but that ain't saying they can't get reparations. They can get reparations from the people who beat them down to the ground, like we gonna get reparations from the ones that beat us down to the ground, if they want to survive. See, because our survival is not dependent upon the reparations. The reparations is God's last chance for those who owe us the reparations. If they want to save themselves, then they're going to have to give up the reparations. They're going to have to submit. They're going to have to bow down to the people that they reduced to nothing, to the people that you took out of their land and brought them into another land. It wasn't your land. It was just another land, a land that you took. and you stripped them of their names, their language, their culture, their country, their God, and their religion. And then you gave them names, you reduced them to nothing. And then you gave us names and language and culture and country and God and religion. And as Dr. Khalid used to say, in folk rays. And I mean, they just beat us down to nothing, and they made us into nothing. See, if the white man make a man, he can't make the original man because he's not the original man himself. All he can make is a Negro or the other N word. That's all he can make. He can't make a real man. So all of y'all that think you was made in America, but you was made by these Americans, you ain't a real black man. That's why you don't know how to be one. That's why you think you God beside God. That's why you think you so almighty and all of the black people under you are just nothing. It's nobodies. And you think you can survive without your people. That's nonsense. That just shows you how ignorant you are. And that little bit of money, because the dollar is being more and more worthless every day. So all those with all them dollars that ain't backed by nothing, that's what you're gonna end up with. Nothing. The dollar ain't nothing. Y'all better look at more of what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine, in America and China. America is sinking fast. The dollar is it's not even worth the paper it's printed on. So all them dollars, soon they say you're gonna be out in the street using that as campfire or something, just burning the money because it ain't worth nothing. It ain't backed by nothing. So I ain't gonna be on long. I'm just hoping that people are tuned in. You heard me, my message. I'll take a word from my sister Vicky Dillard. I make my stuff now, and at the right time, the right people will hear it. The video will be there. I'm coming up on an hour of being on the air. And I want to close just reminding us that it's time now for the black man to stand up and protect our women and children. Stop letting anybody and everybody run over our women and children, even ourselves. We got to put a stop to that. You can't be powerful people if you on the air on a podcast. All you doing is calling our women, our mothers, our sisters, our aunts, our cousins, our little baby girls. All we doing is on the air calling them hoes and bitches. Stop that nonsense. Stop that nonsense. It just show who you are. It don't make you look good. You ain't no big man because you could say that. But if somebody tell you to stand up to that other man that's kicking you in your butt every day, you don't say nothing. You ain't got nothing to say. You're scared to death. You're shaking in your boots. But you could talk so tough to a black woman and you think that make you a big man. That make you sound ignorant. Make you look ignorant. Make everybody know that you are ignorant. And the ones who do it have daughters and refer to women like that. So what they gonna tell their daughters as they daughter hear that stuff as they going, oh no, not you, baby girl. You was the only good one in the whole world. Come on with that nonsense. Telling women that if you got children, you ain't no more good. Ain't no value in being a stepdad. That ain't true. That ain't true. We said take a village to raise a child. A village. So that's what we are. So how it's no value in it. But you're no more good if you're a woman with children, but you great if you're a man with a bunch of children. If you're a Nick Cannon, got babies all over the place, that make you a great man. Come on, stop that nonsense. Wake up, stop putting down your women, Stand up for ourselves. Let's be the powerful nation that we are here in America. 50 million strong. You got countries ain't got 50 million people. And I'll close on that. 50 million black people standing up and the one God, because and I'm gonna go in with things that's in some of the scriptures say that we are nothing and God is one. Nothing in numerical terms is a zero. So when a zero stand up and the one God stand in back of that zero, then that zero is raised to the power of 10. So imagine if 10 of us stand up, if 100 of us stand up, if 1,000 of us stand up, if 1,000,000 of us stand up, if 50 million zeros stand up and a one God stand behind that 50 million, then you got a number, you have numbers that no man can count. Trust me when I tell you, it's our time. Stand up, black man. Don't bow down. Stand up, be counted. Peace. Power to the black man. Assalamu alaikum.